Hey, this is Matt once again. What about 10 of the videos of the paid request? This time for James. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the first two episodes of the TV show Series of Unfortunate Events, based on the novels. Of course, there was a movie which I did review called Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Events. That one starred Jim Carrey as Count Olaf. And I think I said with the movie, I wasn't really a big fan of the film. Like, the look is trying to be a bit Tim Burton. I can appreciate that. But I just wasn't really gung ho about Jim Carrey's performance. I like Jim Carrey, but that was just a bit too big and broad. And the kids, I thought the baby, the way they handled her was cute. You definitely tell they were trying to just put a lot of things into one movie. Especially when you watch this, where things are much more slowed down and much more given air to breathe. So I'd probably say I liked this. I liked these two episodes more than the movie because it has a similar setup. These three kids, Violet, Klaus, and Sunny. Violet and Klaus are fairly smart in their different ways. Sunny is the little baby, but she can chew on stuff. So she must have the teeth of that fucking guy in James Bond. Jigsaw, whatever his name was. Jaws? Yeah, Jaws. Must have Jaws' teeth from James Bond. But their parents die in a house fire, and they're sent to live with Count Olaf. And Count Olaf, the look of him is similar to how Jim Carrey was in the movie. And he's a actor, and he's got this troupe of actors. He has a shithole place, and it makes him clean up, and he treats him like shit. Now here, Count Olaf is played by Neil Patrick Harris, which is an interesting choice. Definitely not as zany as Jim Carrey. This one, I actually probably like the performance a bit more because this Count Olaf, he does have his goofy moments, but he definitely felt a bit more menacing. He definitely felt a bit more, even more villainous in this, as in just menacing. I keep thinking of that word. I thought it worked a bit better in this. I thought Neil Patrick was able to not be so zany over the top and go off on these tangents that Jim Carrey did. I also like the way they used the narrator more in this. In the movie, it was Jude Law who was kind of this voice, and he really didn't feel a connection. Here is Patrick Warburton, and to be honest, he was my favorite bit of the two episodes because he narrates it, but we see him. A lot of times he'll be within the scene, kind of narrating, and then he'll like look over, and the characters will pass by him, but no one notices he's there. But he's narrating for the audience. I thought, number one, I like Patrick Warburton. I like him. I think he's a fun character actor. I think his mannerisms work because he's more like a deadpan Rod Serling. I kind of thought of him as Rod Serling from Twilight Zone. I like his deadpan delivery. So when he's saying these certain lines about how, you know, if you want to watch something more pleasant, I would understand. Because this is a series of unfortunate events, and he fit that the cadence of the whole vibe fit that very well. And like I say, I'm kind of more interested in what's happened with his character because he obviously has a history. Like he knows, we'll see like bits of his apartment where he has all these pictures and all these lines and strings attached everywhere. There's a bit where in one of the episodes He's in this apartment. There's a knock on the door. He still talks to the audience, to the camera, and then gets his suitcase and leaves out the window. I'm like, what is this guy's character? There's a bit where he's uh, underground in these tunnels. I want to follow this guy's story more so than the kids, to be honest. I didn't A, because I like Patrick Warburton, and B, the mystery of that character and how he fits into all this, how he's involved with all this. I'm more interested to know what that's all about. So excited, I'm hiccuping. Jesus. Damn, getting so excited, I'm getting the hiccups. Another interesting choice is that they have the baby subtitled. I just to further show that all three of these kids are geniuses in their own front. So even the baby, I did talk, but you get subtitles. So some may have grown at that. I can understand why. Oh, to me, was unexpected, and it does. The pacing of it is definitely different from the movie. Because in the first two episodes, they have not gone to any other relatives. Like in the movie, they're with Count Olaf, then they go to this other relative who's got the deadly viper, then they go to another relative who's in the middle of nowhere, and then Olaf is chasing them, and then brings them back, and then wants to marry her, the little girl. No, here is they stick with the Count Olaf, where things are really shitty. All the most of the adults in the show are shitty. In particular, the lawyer, how you want to put him. I hated that character, and I hated the guy's performance. I'm sorry. The guy that he's always coughing all the time, and I don't know if there's any explanations why he keeps fucking coughing, but it got really irritating quick. I'm like, get some fucking breath mints, or get some cough drops, or drink some cough syrup. And I thought his acting was very weak. I mean, he's supposed to have this kind of phony airy quality to him, but it just really unlikable, really an idiot as well. He easily just manipulated by Count Olaf to put the kids into his care. Because we see a flashback where Count Olaf goes to the bank. I call him a lawyer, but he works with the bank actually. And Count Olaf gets by the secretary and makes up the name that his haircut, because he looks on it that someone needs a haircut, so he thinks that's a name. And then when Count Olaf says this, the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I wasn't due for a haircut. Actually, I will talk to you." And then easily gets manipulated. I mean, this character, the banker, he's so stupid. He's so inane. He's so inept. He's so irritating. Don't care for the voice he's projecting in his performance. Like the way he's I don't know how else to put it. And God, I stop fucking coughing. I'm gonna give you something to cough about. I'm gonna take a whole pack of cigarettes, put it in your fucking throat, cough that up. Just God, I hated this character. Get the fuck out of my face. One of my least favorite parts was that character. And for him, closest living relative means distance. And even the kids are like, is that really what this guy thinks closest living relative means? Yeah. But I guess you have to have something this stupid to bring these kids to Count Olaf. But yeah, Neil Patrick Harris, I do like Neil Patrick Harris as an actor. I do vaguely remember seeing Doogie Howser MD back in the day. I liked his performances in the Harold and Kumar movies. So I do like Neil Patrick Harris. And I thought it was cool they gave him the chance to play this type of character. And he did get some chuckles out of me. Oh, your mother. Remarkable woman. Very flammable. I thought that was very cold. Oh, that's cold, dude. But that did give me a chuckle. Or when he brings the kids to this room and shows them the bathroom because he wants them to clean the bathroom, clean every room. He's like, "Oh yeah, that shampoo is not tear free. In fact, it encourages tears," and leaves. Like I said, I liked his more deadpan, to repeat one last time, menacing presence more than Jim Carrey's. And I didn't mind the one decent adult is Joan Cusack, who's the neighbor, and she's a judge, but she's a bit aloof as to what's really going on. But as I see Joan Cusack in there, I like Joan Cusack. Always liked her as an actress. She was in Toys with Robin Williams, Arlington Road, I think, with Tim Robbins. Been a lot of stuff. Even at one point, the Olaf slaps the boy Klaus, and even he's saying we should just live on the streets, and she's going, well, we at least we have a roof on our head. It's better than nothing. And the boy says, no, this is not better than nothing. So I'm like, I thought the kids were better acted in this movie, especially the boy Klaus, because the boy in the movie, I thought he was very wooden. I thought he was very emotionless. I thought that the kid here, the boy, I felt a bit more genuine emotion from the kid and just being upset at the situation that he's in, and they just jive. They just had better chemistry together as brother and sister, and I thought they did a better job casting these characters compared with the movie. Again, the kids in the movie, other than the baby, the other kids I didn't give a rat's ass about. Here, they're a little bit better acted. And it does create some other intrigue. Like at the end of the episode, spoilers, you find out that the parents are alive. And one of them, the dad's actually Will Arnett. Actually, let me double check. Was it Will Arnett? I think it was. Let me double check real quick. Yeah, it is Will Arnett. I'm like, okay, where's this going? Where's this leading up to? What's this all about? Does they hint that there's some underlying theme in the movie? But of course, there were no sequels, so you never find out what that is, unless you read the books, which I've never have. So it is one of those things where it's kind of hard to be surprised with the show so far with these two episodes because I saw the movie and it is reminiscent of the movie of the events. Idea of their house burned down, they think their parents are dead. In the movie, you never get a sense that the parents are alive. Unless that was something we're going to be revealed in a sequel or two or three, I don't know. But here you get a sense, you see that the parents are alive. There's also, I think the secretary at the bank and some other guy, they're with this organization. They're wondering why is these kids with calling Olaf. I'm like, why don't you go in and help them? Go in and take them by force. What the fuck are you doing? Lolly-daddying around. Visually, wasn't too bad. It was directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, actually. I was wondering whatever happened to him, because, of course, he directed The Addams Family and the sequel to that. At least the Addams Family Values. I know there was a third one that... we don't talk about the third one. But... which I guess is related to the first two, I guess, but you could... anyway, that's a whole other thing. But he directed the first two Addams Family films. He directed the Men in Black movies. They Get Shorty. They Wild Wild West. But you didn't really hear about Barry Sonnenfeld anymore. So I'm like, oh, okay, he directed this. Okay, he directed the pilot. And I just had a hand in producing the show. That was cool. You tell he definitely brought a little bit of his Addams Family influence in some of the visuals, some of the way scenes were directed. As I said, Patrick Warburton was a very fun presence. Even episode 2, the alleged entertainment is unpleasant. I will say one running gag that kind of got irritating was when they explain stuff that the audience should know what the words mean. But there are times where a word is said, then they explain what the word means. I know Patrick Warburton is forced to say some of those type of lines, but even the banker, what was it? What was the word? Perished. And then he explains what perish means, and the kids go, "We know what perish means." And that's like a running gag. I don't know, really a gag, because I don't think it's meant to be funny, but there's times like Patrick Warburton. Probably the one time I thought it worked was when Count Olaf doesn't know the difference between literally and figuratively. So then Patrick Warburton comes in and he explains what literally is, like you're literally jumping for joy. In the background, you see someone literally jump in joy. Then figuratively, he explains what that is. And so it passed by. I'm figure. Yes, I'm jumping for joy figuratively. The way Patrick Warburton said that and the visuals behind him, okay, that made it a little bit funny, but no more explain what words are. We did what they are. We don't need to hear the shit. We don't need to be explained shit we already know. Okay, we're not stupid, or that stupid. We may be stupid. We're not that stupid. Like, okay, ease up on that. Maybe that's in the books. If that's the case, then maybe don't do that anymore. I did like Patrick Warburton's line, "Marriage is like sharing a root beer float. Only do with the one you love." So, okay. But that's the episode 2 is when the secretary realizes something's going on. She gets tied up to like this tree, but she was able to break out of it, get to this phone booth, call her associate, and then again they're part of this secret organization. I'm guessing we would hear more of that later in the show, because it did go on for 3 seasons, 25 episodes. I looked them up. The last episode does say the end. I don't know if it was meant for 3 seasons. I mean 25. I don't know if that was meant that way from the get go or not. I don't know. And Karloff gets this plan that he's going to do this play, and during the play there's a marriage. But because I'm your legal guardian, and because we don't have a judge do it, it'll be like the play. But then essentially, I do marry you because the kids want to leave. This is bullshit. But Karloff has the baby tied up, and if you don't, she's going to die. Again, Neil Patrick Harris does a good job even in the second episode. Like this bit where time's running out and you make the choice when this sand, it's a, one of those sand timer things, but it runs out too quickly. And then Neil Patrick Harris pops back and goes, "Yeah, I turned this a few more times. I didn't know the sand was going to run that fast." So I thought that was kind of funny. The baby, they definitely utilize a bit more because like a henchman's watching her and then they're playing cards. I thought the effects weren't that bad where the kid has these cards and is shuffling them, and she's got duct tape in her mouth, but she's shuffling the cards to give it to the guy. I guess this henchman's so stupid, it's kind of Well, if I lose, I'll put duct tape on my mouth and all this other stuff. Now, I don't know if these are rules that are abided by law because this guy goes pretty far with these rules to the point I'm thinking, why is this guy this stupid? I get the henchmen's in this type of stuff is usually stupid, but why is he this fucking stupid? To the point that he'll allow himself to be tied up and he'll allow himself to be duct taped or allow himself to take this baby and go to the show. Well, she had a full house. What can I say? I mean, it was kind of funny with how kooky it was. They go through with it, realize, well, actually, it technically says with your right hand, you're the right of hand, but she signed it with her left. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean that literally. Of course, he gets it wrong, says figuratively, because he doesn't know the difference. Kind of roll off. And they go through this scene that goes on a bit too long, where the judge, Joan Cusack, goes, I don't know. And then you have this chalkboard, and the kid has to explain it in detail. And this scene goes on a bit too long. It's like, we get the point. We get where it's going. We get how obviously it'll be going. Like, the whole chalkboard dad, you didn't need. Leave the chalkboard dads for the Simpsons. Like, we don't need, like, come on. We're stretching this out a bit too far, man. I thought that was done a bit better in the movie because it's just a bit quicker to the point. And again, when it comes back to Patrick Warburton, he is the more interesting bit of the story to me because I'm curious about what is Lemony Snicket's story. What's his involvement? What's this blurry photo he has of Beatrice? Who is Beatrice? Why is the photo blurry? I'm more intrigued about him and how he's involved and how he's like connected and why is he so obsessed with telling the story? So maybe just because I've seen the movie, so I know at least a chunk of where this is going. Just when for understand episode 3, they go to the guy who's got the snake, the deadly viper. So I kind of know where it's going in there. So there's not a lot of surprise. Too many surprises so far, other than again, the parents are alive and you see them alive at the end of the second episode as well, where they're getting ready to escape their jail cell. So at least that bit's a bit intriguing. Like I said, the kids do their jobs fairly well. The look of the the TV show was fine enough. I mean, at times there's some obvious CG, but overall, not too shabby. So yeah, I would say, from what I read up, this is a more faithful adaptation of those books. I didn't read the book, so I can't confirm or deny that. But yeah, overall, didn't mind it. I didn't mind it for what it was. Like I say, it was nice to see Neil Patrick Harris. I liked him as an actor. Definitely felt more like a villain in this movie and less annoying compared to how Jim Carrey approached the role. It felt like the story was a little bit more serious in this front. Let's say Patrick Warburton, the narrator, given a bit more of a character. It was nice to see a bit more of importance, a bit more significance. Also, the fact that it felt a bit to get the setup of Olaf out of the way, and then to go to the different, that felt a bit better pacing wise. Because, okay, now he's going to be on the run chasing them, and they're going to go from relative to relative to relative. This series of unfortunate events. So now it felt like we're going to be in this progression. I guess these will get worse and worse and worse for these kids. Because it pretty much tells you don't expect a happy ending, so I don't really know how the ending will be like, but it definitely kept my interest. I'll say that. So that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, James, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.